What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a preview for the President's Cup. Didn't think we were going to have an opportunity to do this, but for the first time, DraftKings is offering contests for the President's Cup, and I think it's going to be a lot like the match play where people are going to screw this up. So I'm here to help you out with what I believe to be the optimal strategy for this event. If you remember back at the match play, went into this long video about the most optimal way to build your lineups, and something like 35% of the lineups in all of the contests were built suboptimally. They had really no chance of winning. I don't know if it's going to be as bad for the President's Cup, but I think there is going to be a lot of flaws in people's logic and preparation. And then even more specifically, I think Showdown is going to be super, I don't want to say easy, but a lot softer than normal this week. I will walk you through the strategy. I'm not going to necessarily talk through like, hey, who I think the best play is, who I think the worst play is, but there is an actual strategy that I'm going to try to employ that I'll walk you through. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that I've put together that I'm going to kind of work off of. That's kind of what we're going to use for this video. I will give you that spreadsheet. There's two ways to get that spreadsheet. If you are a member of DFSOnDemand.com, which is my website, you already have it. I've already posted it in the Slack channel. So go check there. You can download it. Otherwise, I will charge you for about 20 seconds of your time. The other way to get it is go leave an audio review, iTunes specifically, leave a 5-star review, say something nice about the show, and if you want to get it quickly, take a screenshot of your review as you're going through the process and tweet me. It's at RickRunGood. Send me that screenshot. I will DM you back with a link to download this spreadsheet. So that's a little barter, 20 seconds of your time. You'll get the spreadsheet that I'm working off for this video. Seems like a pretty fair deal to me. All right, let's hop into this. All right, so first and foremost, I think we have to talk through the structure of the President's Cup and the structure of the DraftKings contest that we have in place here. So let's start on DraftKings and actually just look at the lobby, because this is probably where the people are going to go first. And what's different is we have a captain spot and we have 5 golfer spots. So this, I believe, is the first time ever we've had a captain spot on the PGA Tour in golf. I think that it's something that should be in place, should have been used this week at the Hero World Challenge. But it is going to be just like every other sport that employs the captain spot, which means you spend 1.5 times the salary to get that golfer, but you receive 1.5 times the fantasy point production. So for example, Justin Thomas, his actual price is $10,800, but if you want to play him in the captain spot, he's going to cost you $16,200, but you will get 1.5 times his fantasy production. So there is strategy involved in that, which we will talk about more later. But what's also interesting, and this is what I think people are going to overlook the absolute most here, is you are not required to play a golfer from each team, because DraftKings does not know what team a golfer plays for, so to speak. They're all just golfers. So you don't have to play 2 golfers from the international team, 4 golfers from America. You can play 6 from one side or 6 from the other. Okay, so that is a key thing we will talk about later. So keep that in mind. And we'll go to the scoring. I'll show you what the scoring looks like for this event here. And it's going to be very similar to the match play scoring. So you will get 3 points for every hole that you've won. Doesn't matter if you make birdie, par, bogey, whatever. 0.75 points for every hole you've halved. You will lose 0.75 points for every hole that you've lost. If you've won the match, you get 5 points, and you also get a bonus of 1.6 points for every hole you did not play. That holes not played scoring only counts for if you've won the match. So if you get blown out and lose in 10 holes, you don't get points for the holes that you did not end up playing because you lost. And then you get a 2-point bonus for having your match. And then they do have streaks in here. So a streak of 3 consecutive holes won, that's 5 points. Or if you don't lose a single hole in the match, that's an extra 7.5. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. As I mentioned, I think the big thing that people are going to miss is that you do not have to play. Like, you can play 6 of one side and 6 from the other if you want. To note how the President's Cup is going to go down, there are 5 total sessions. And the absolute biggest thing that you need to know is I don't really care about the results so much, is you're going to need to play the golfers who play in the most sessions. And I understand that is very logical and makes sense, but people are going to screw that up. Additionally, so there's talking in terms of Australia. So it'll be Thursday they're going to play 5 matches. Friday they're going to play 5 matches. Saturday morning, they're going to play 4 matches. Saturday afternoon, they're going to play 4 matches. And then everyone is going to play Sunday singles. Not every golfer, and I'm going to show you the historic stuff in a second. There are going to be a lot of golfers who do not play more than 2 or 3 times. In the past, you were required to play at least 3 matches. That rule has changed. You are now only required to play 2 matches. So this year, more than ever, I think you're going to see guys who only play twice, and they are going to be absolute drawing dead in your DraftKings lineups. Okay, you need the guys who are going to play all 5 matches or 4 matches or something like that. So that's very, very key. And then also knowing the pairings is going to be unbelievably critical. So let me just talk about pairings for a second, because this is important. When they're playing team events, both golfers are going to receive the same amount of points. So if Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler are paired together in the opening session and they win 3 and 2, they're going to get the same number of fantasy points because they both won. They both won the same number of holes. They both lost the same number of holes. There is no difference. But for the entirety of the President's Cup, the thing that will change is obviously on Sunday, they're all going to play by themselves, the Sunday singles. This is, okay, so this more relates to Showdown, where if you're going to know what the pairings are before Showdown here. And these guys are, like, if you want to play guys together, so I think the one of the best strategies is going to be, for massive upside, is to play both the partners together. Or, like, if I think Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler are going to play together a lot this week, I should put them in my lineups together, because I would get the upside of both of them winning, basically double points if they win their matches. I would get, double points if they lost too. Like, it can go both ways. But especially for Showdown, where Showdown on a team match, these golfers are going to get the same number of points no matter what. You should never put the more expensive guy in your captain spot, right? Like, am I crazy here? If I have Justin Thomas, so let's look at this. Assume this is a Showdown slate. Justin Thomas is 16,200 to put in my captain spot. Ricky Fowler would be 10,500. If I know they're playing together in a team format on a single round, again, just for Showdown, they're going to get the same number of points. So I might as well just take whatever points they're going to get and 1.5 times that for cheaper, the 10,500 that Ricky Fowler is, then pay the 16,200 for Justin Thomas. People will screw that up. I absolutely guarantee it in Showdown. I guarantee it. But let's look. I want to show you this spreadsheet that I've been putting together because I really think it helps illustrate a lot of what I'm talking about here. So I've been compiling this. And what I did is I went back and I looked at the 2017 outcomes here, the 2017 President's Cup. And I broke them up by each team, so the U.S. team and the international team, and I went through all of their sessions, and I went through all of their results, how many holes they won in each one, and I calculated basically what their DraftKings points would have been. Now, this does not take into account the bonuses, right? I didn't do if they won 3 straight holes. I didn't do if they did not lose a single hole, which I don't think anyone did. I don't think there was a single match all week that someone did not lose a hole, so that bonus is basically non-existent. I did not do the bonus for if they won 3 straight, but this is a pretty good sample. Now remember, the U.S. dominated this President's Cup, like 19-11, I think was the final. It was a bludgeoning, like it was just a beatdown. So it's no surprise to see a lot of the American guys scoring a lot of points, but your largest DraftKings scorers are the guys that played the most, which makes sense. But like look at this. Okay, so Justin Thomas, he played all 5 sessions across the top here. And he won 3 of them. He lost 1 and he halved 1. So he played with Ricky Fowler the first 2 sessions. Actually, no, he played with Fowler the first 3 sessions. Fowler took off Friday afternoon, and then they each played their single. So, like, if I knew they were going to play together again, and I think they might, we'll talk about pairings, those 2 might be a really good combo to get going because, Justin Thomas is awesome. He's the most expensive player here, but then you also get his partner in Ricky Fowler, and they're going to play together. Well, let me show you this. So this right here, I've just ranked the golfers based on their DraftKings points. And what you'll notice is the 4 Americans who scored the most DraftKings points, they all played 5 matches. So it was DJ, Reed, Spieth. Reed and Spieth played together every single session. Justin Thomas. But then Louis Oosthuizen and Jason Day are in here, which is crazy because, the importance of playing matches is this. Jason Day played all 5 matches. He lost. He was 1-3-1. He was terrible. He only won 1 of them. He scored more fantasy points than Ricky Fowler, who was 3-0-1, but he only played 4 matches. That's pretty crazy. Same thing. Phil Mickelson, also 3-0-1, scored less points than Louis, who was 2-2-1, and Jason Day, who was 1-3-1. Johnny Vegas was 1-4-0. 1 win, 4 losses, scored more fantasy points than Kevin Kisner, who was 2-0-2. 2 wins, 0 losses, 2 halves. I can read you down the list. It's just really Adam Scott played 4 sessions and lost all of them. He did not earn a single point for his team. Scored more DraftKings points than Daniel Berger, who was 2-1 but only played 3 times. Yes, there's different ways to get to wins. Yes, there's different ways to get to losses. But there is no doubt that volume is your friend here. I cannot beg you enough to get guys that you think are going to play in all of the sessions. So who is that going to be? This is pretty rampant speculation, but who do I think are the most likely to play all 5 sessions or play the most? I think Justin Thomas. I think Justin Thomas is a pretty good guess at this. And I'm going to pull up some numbers here. Justin Thomas has only been on 1 President's Cup team prior to this. It was 2 years ago in 2017. He played all 5 sessions. He is still one of the best players in the world. Great in this type of format. I think it's very likely that he does it again. Now, when you start looking at pairings, I think that there's a good chance that Tiger and JT play together at some point, but this pairing of JT and Ricky Fowler has worked so much in the past. I think they go back to that. So I would not be surprised to see JT play with Tiger or JT play with Fowler, and I think Fowler is a really good value option because he kind of gets sucked into having to play a lot. And because he was, named to the team as the last captain's pick, his price on DraftKings is really, really good. In fact, I think he might be the cheapest American player. Let me see really quickly. No, I guess Woodland and Bryce. Oh no, there's plenty of guys who are cheaper, but still, Fowler's down towards the bottom of the list here. He's only 10,500 to play in your captain spot, and I think he kind of gets a boost because of this format. Tiger, to me, if he wasn't the captain, I would run him out there every time, but because he's played almost every session in every President's Cup in history. He just plays a ton. But getting older, the trip to Australia, the fact that he is a captain, I think he might just keep himself out of it a couple of sessions. I'm less and less confident about Tiger playing every single session here. I think Dustin Johnson is a big question mark because he's coming off the knee procedure. He had one more week of rehab. This is the first time we're going to see him tee it up competitively in a long time. I would probably be shocked if he played all 5 matches, quite honestly, just because I don't think they're going to run him out there. So who does that leave us with? I think Patrick Reed plays a lot. I think this is literally the format that Tiger picked him for. I think Patrick Reed plays a lot. And then with that, so I think the big pairing is probably going to be Patrick Reed and Patrick Cantlay. Those two guys have played a lot together. Let me pull up the numbers here. That's right. These guys played together at the Zurich, where you get to choose your partner, right, for the team event there. So these guys partner up. Would be pretty interested to see them play together, which I also think gives Cantlay a boost. Looking at the rest of this team, I mean, Webb has played a lot. You normally don't see first timers, but the U.S. team is so stacked. I think that the U.S. team is a little harder to figure out. I will probably be playing a lot of Reed, Justin Thomas, Fowler by default, and then maybe I think Webb is pretty safe. Kuchar even would play a lot, but it's kind of a toss up. I'm just kind of staying away from Dustin, maybe Bryson, because Bryson is tough to pair together in the team formats because he's so out there and he plays such a unique style. It's kind of hard to pair him. I would expect him to sit out one of the team sessions. The international team I think makes a lot more sense, where the Australian guys are going to play a ton. Adam Scott is going to play a ton. Mark Leishman is going to play a ton. Cam Smith is going to play a ton. That I think we know. Louis is going to play a ton. So that's kind of where I'd start. Then, I think it's possible that Sung Jae, who already plays a lot of golf, he plays together. Let's see who else I have here. Just want to make sure I have my potential pairings. Now, the good news is about this. And if you want to be smart at this, you will not create your lineups or finalize your lineups until the pairings come out. So we are going to know before this tournament starts who is being paired together on day one. And the pairings on day one might be very indicative of what the pairings are going to be throughout. So if the two Patricks are paired together in the first round and they win, very likely they continue to be rolled out there together, right? So also, you're going to know who's not playing. So we're basically going to have a free space of knowing who to avoid in our lineups because we know they cannot possibly play all 5 sessions if they're not playing the first. So I'd almost argue, and this could backfire, but I'd almost argue that you should be fading everyone who does not play on the first round. Because there's the only chance is they get to playing 4 sessions when they've already missed the first. So that might backfire, but I think that would be a pretty easy way to do it. So let's talk a little bit about the timing because this is going to be really important. Wednesday at 4 p.m. in Australia, the captain's picks are going to be coming out. Okay, I'm actually flipping through a notebook. Have you ever seen me flip through a notebook on here? So let's see this. So Wednesday at 4 p.m., round 1 pairings are announced. That is midnight Wednesday on the East Coast. The first round is going to start at, I believe, 7 Eastern. So you're going to have a handful of hours there. But where it's going to come into play is when round 1 ends, the pairings for round 2 are immediately going to come out. So it's going to end about 4 p.m. Thursday in Australia, which would be, again, midnight Wednesday on the East Coast. And then the next round is going to start around 7 p.m. Thursday on the East Coast. So you're going to have, 12? You'll have 19 hours or so. But I don't think a lot of people are going to take the time, especially in Showdown, depending on when the contests come out, to see and optimize their lineups for who's playing that week. Showdown specifically for, what am I trying to say here? For the Saturday round. So Saturday is kind of crazy because there's only 4 matches. So there's 4 matches in the AM, 4 matches in the PM. And I guess, I don't know, with DraftKings, they're not going to combine them into one day, will they? I don't know. I guess, the contests aren't out yet. But if they do it by AM session and PM session, there's only 4 matches. And you know that the partners are going to play, or are going to earn the same number of points. So basically, you're just trying to pick, I would say you would just pick the 3 matches that you think are going to win and pair up all the partners together that you can fit together with the salary cap and never play the more expensive guy in your captain spot. Rotate through your captain spots of the cheaper partners is the way that I would play that. So to head back over to this spreadsheet, there's a couple of other things in here. So I've duplicated the 2017 outcome with the 2019 outcome. So if you want to follow along, you can come in here and say, okay, here's how many, Dustin Johnson, he won 4 holes. He lost 2 holes. He halved, 10 holes. And what's that leave? 2 that he didn't play, and he won the match. So this is matches won, matches halved, and it'll calculate their DraftKings points throughout. So you can come through here and keep track of this if you'd like. And I've also put just a little, this is how I'm going to build my lineups. Let me zoom out a little bit. This little lineup builder here, because this is the way that I would normally do my, my core cascading. And basically what I can do is, I can just put, I can copy and paste guys from the salary section here, and I can, choose who I want to play and paste them into these lineup spots over here. And it'll tell me how much salary I have. If I go over salary, it'll turn red for me. So I can kind of build lineups this way. And what I like about doing it in this is, once you've built all these lineups, this is the DraftKings export file. So you can literally just download this and upload it into DraftKings. So I'm going to make dummy lineups. I will export them, and then I will copy and paste my other lineups into that sheet. So I have a video on that. I'll link that video here to show you how to export, edit, upload. So I'm going to do the same thing. So because I'm using the actual DraftKings file here, this works out pretty good. And I think that's about it. I mean, the things that I think you should take away from this is wait as long as possible to see what the pairings are going to be. Try to get some intel, read all the news that you can for who the partners are going to be. And then it is about playing guys who are going to play the most. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of people are going to screw this up. They're going to try to fit in, like playing CT Pan at $4,000 might be interesting, but if he plays 3 times, kind of stinks, right? So just be very aware of situations like that. If you're playing in Showdown, only stick, take your pair of partners. If you're going to play 2 guys together, only ever put the cheaper guy in the captain spot, which gives you more flexibility. So there's a lot of different ways to try to tackle this, but I think that you'll be ahead of the game if you just take all of these guys that end up playing a whole bunch, which makes a lot of sense. All right, there you go. That's it. This is a great week to follow me on Twitter because there's going to be a lot of breaking news. There's going to be a lot of things changing. It's at RickRunGood. If you want the sheet, you know how. Leave a review, screenshot me, and tweet me a shot of it. I'll send you over the file to get this sheet. And best of luck this week. I'm sure we'll talk soon.